What's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here. It is the Lowdown. It's all brought to you by Pickdawgz.com. Appreciate you guys checking this out. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the glasses flipping thing again. Please click the like and subscribe button. That'll help us out. And if you click the notification button, it will let you know anytime one of these gets posted. Whew, now, it's been a lot of talking today. I think I've recorded 4 or 5 different podcasts for football and college football, NFL. I feel like I've talked about so many games, but we're going to dive into 4 college games that I think are intriguing in just a little bit. I did want to talk about my concrete inner circle. I talk about it every day, and again, it's pricey, but it's for people that want to place big bets. And what I'm doing with like last night, my top 5 plays hit. And if you guys played the prop plays I gave out, they went 3-1. Talked about how much I liked Houston, gave out a freemium, gave out Ooh La La, and said they were a freemium too, because there's only 2 games that we were talking about that night. They hit. And I'm not trying to take my, I always say my third arm out and pat myself on the back. But I had a big night last night. And if you're with the concrete inner circle, you would have had an amazing night too if you played some of those plays. Like, again, Costi said it on the morning show on Friday. One of his buddies texted him and said, I don't know what's going on, but Conn's prop picks are printing money. And I normally wouldn't bring this up and talk about it the way I am, because this is way better than any year I've ever had with prop plays, and I'm not selling them. I'm just giving them away. So usually watching the show, you'll pick up on some. I don't know what this heater is that I'm on, but I'd guarantee you I'm hitting over 75% on prop plays, especially in the NFL. I had my first losing. I went 1-3 on Monday night with the under, and even in going 1-3, I lost by 1 reception. You get 1 more reception, essentially a half a reception, but you got to get 1. And I lost by 1 yard, or else I would have been 3-1. So it's just been 3-1, 4-0, 3-1, 4-0, 6-0, 3-1, 3-0, 3-0. Like it's been really good, and hopefully you guys have taken advantage of it. Now watch, I'm going to tell everybody to take advantage of it, and I'll lose the next 10. Knock on wood that doesn't happen. But yeah, the inner circle has been great. And like, if you're placing big wagers and you see something, I'm like, hey, I love this game, and I tell you this is what I'm doing with it. I mean, one game can kind of make your week. So if you are interested in that, and again, it is pricier, it's for bigger bettors, text inner circle to that number, and I'll leave all the salesy stuff alone after that. What else? With last night, or I should say, I always get caught up in this, Thursday night, I had Houston, again, 3-1 in the props. I had Ooh La La were my top plays that hit. I also had a couple other things that were just really, really good to me going back to last night. And the plays that really worked out were the NHL plays. I went 2-1 in those. I went 3-0 in the triple play that I sold 2 triple plays, but they both won. One went 3-0 that had my 3 favorite plays on the night. And the other one went 2-1, and that was my NHL triple play. And I just can't, you know what, F the Utah Mammoths. I've bet on them 4 times this year, and I've lost all 4 games. It's not like they're a bad team or like they're in the spots that I bet on them. It's just like, come on, whether it's the side or the total, I just can't get them right. But I got everything else right, and you didn't have to sweat the other 2 games as we had the Caps over and now I'm trying to remember who I had on I had the under in the Boston game, I believe it was. Sorry, man. So much talking today. Everything kind of runs together. So, but yeah, it was a nice night. I had a couple other plays that didn't hit, but they were more like, I hate saying leans, but that's what I would call them. Like, I go through the whole thing. I find my favorite plays, and then there are still plays that I like that I don't bet. And I would call those kind of like leans at times. But that being said, the 5-0 was great. Hit my NBA play. Just had a good night. So let me get into this. I'll talk about these games and try not to have diarrhea of the mouth too much. This might be a little bit shorter just because of timing and everything else. But here, let's just get into it. And by the way, if you go back and check Friday's podcast, I gave out a bunch of college football props that I'm on. You guys can listen to it. Well, you know what? I can just reread them here. And then you guys, these are ones you're going to have to write down, though. Jaron Kanak, under 3.5 receptions on Oklahoma wide receiver. That's a noon game. Braylon Staley, under 5.5 receptions plus 100. That's Tennessee, 7:30. Ryan Wingo of Texas, over 68.5 receiving yards, 330. He's minus 115. I like Josh Cameron of Baylor to go over his receiving prop yardage. It's 69.5. I like SMU, which we talked about yesterday. We'll get into that game a little bit later, but I like Kevin Jennings, the quarterback there, over his passing yards, and I like Brendan Sorsby on Cincinnati to go over his passing yards. So if you are in a state where you can bet props, I'd definitely take a peek at them, see what you can find. And again, I tell people this all the time, especially with the college props, because I'm getting them from elsewhere, the lines and everything. I can't bet those in the state of Maryland. So sometimes the lines fluctuate, a couple of yards here or there. And again, if I give it out early in the week, there's a chance it's going to change by the end of the week. So just be aware of that if you're looking for it. And I'm totally fine if people want to reach out and ask me, do I still like this or did I like this? It's at JConn Sports on Twitter, and that's CONN. And which, you know what? I am going to talk about this. So on on my show today, my co-host, I do a segment called The World of Stupid. So I find dumb stories, people that have done stupid things. For example, today was a kind of an interesting day, but it was about, we had somebody that got arrested for setting a fire, or I'm sorry, somebody that set a fire in Australia and they're suing the salon for $2 million. He set the fire. He was burning down the place and then he caught on fire and now he's suing the salon for $2 million. You know, stories like that. People that get arrested. And we had the guy with the DeLorean in New Jersey and he had like 85 bags of Coke on him or something. Where we're going, we won't need roads. It's prison. And then the one story I talked about was Simone Biles got a breast job. Just got her boobs done. Former gymnast. She's married to one of the Chicago Bears players. And I brought this story up because she said it was one of the most painful experiences she ever had. So it led me to this question. And trust me, on my sports talk show, we talk about everything. It led me to the question, like, what do gymnasts go through with their bodies? I know, like, the rigorous activities they have. Sometimes you're suppressing your menstrual cycle and all that, changing things up. And if I'm saying anything out of line, feel free to comment and say. But it wasn't the goal. But I wanted to talk about it. Like, okay, was she in so much pain because she was so tiny, or is this something that people go through? And then we got into the whole gymnast thing. So my co-host said. He said, well, you're not going to need that with your titties. And I said, what titties? What are you talking about, titties? I've just said titties too many times. And I looked at him and I said, your tits are bigger than mine. He goes, I work out. I haven't lifted in 3 years. I used to lift 5 days a week, 6 years in a row. And then after I stopped playing sports and my back and my neck started giving out, I just kind of gave it all up. I want to get back in the gym now that I lost like 30-some pounds. But I think I still got to lose more because my back and neck, whenever I throw it out, I'm making excuses and being a whiny little bitch right here. But whenever I throw it out, I'm miserable. Like literally mow half my lawn and my back goes out. And it's like, oh, this is just brutal. Like putting on shoes is the worst part of my day. But getting back to it, I don't even remember where I was going with this. But, so on the show, we're talking about it. And then that's when I looked at my co-host and I said, he said, you want to take your shirt off? And I said, yeah, I'll take mine off. You going to take yours off? So I literally ripped it off. And then yelled and flexed like this. Everybody thinks it's AI. I know I was a chubby son of a bitch, but like I did lose a lot of weight. And I know I haven't been lifting. It's not AI. I have 2 pictures of me that, look, I'm going to say this too. I got 2 pictures of me. One year I went as Ric Flair for Halloween. And so I shaved off everything, had the blonde wig. I even had his little red bikini shorts and the robe and everything, and was wooing. And even in my pocket, I had his theme song on a loop that was playing over my phone. And my buddy took a picture of me. And I'm telling you, he took the picture at the exact right time because it looks like I stuffed my pants with something. There's nothing down there. There's nothing to brag about. But this picture, everybody's like, well, oh, you're trying to put something in your underwear? No, it's nothing to brag about. I talk about self-deprecating stuff every single day. And then with this, all of a sudden, the first freaking comment somebody posts, and I was like, hey, I don't look half bad in this picture. He posted that AI. It's like, God damn it. Anyway, neither here nor there. And again, sorry, guys. Just getting into a whole bunch of other stuff that means nothing. Now I got to talk about these 4 games instead of just BSing around. All right, let's start it off with Tulsa at Army. Army right now, I see 10.5. 45.5 is the total. Army favored by 10.5. Army, one of the more heavily bet teams on the day. But I'm looking at the over because I don't think, Tulsa's terrible, guys. I don't think Army's going to have any issue scoring on them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did the lion's share of this. But I also think Tulsa can still move the ball on Army as well. And this is one where, like, Would I be shocked if Tulsa covered the spread? No, not at all. Especially like just looking at it, there's so many people. This line has moved up, and even if you're betting Army now, you're not getting them at the best price, but so be it. But I think the over's the play here. I'm going to go over the 45.5 as my first lean. All right, I talked a little bit about this throughout the week. Missouri at OU, Oklahoma. Oklahoma favored by 6.5 is what I'm seeing. 42.5 is the total. And what I was telling people is I don't think I'm betting this game, but I might change my mind the more I've looked at it. Because just going back and forth on it, Missouri's still without Pribiola, their quarterback. I'd like them a lot more if he was there. Not that this other kid's bad or anything. I like the way that he was playing ball. They have one of the best running backs in the country in Ahmad Hardy. Decent wide receivers. Their defense is solid. Oklahoma's got a really good defense, but I talk about spots all the time, and Oklahoma coming off of a game where they just knocked off Alabama, and it's a huge upset win, right, for them, and it kind of supplants them in that playoff race now where they're feeling great, especially after that loss to Texas. It is an absolute perfect letdown spot. Now, with that being said, I am going to suggest taking Missouri here, but there is that possibility that OU's defense is just this good and Missouri doesn't get anything done. I still think I think Hardy's going to get some on the ground and then they keep it close. I would not be shocked if Missouri won. I do not expect that. So I'm not going to be on here as, hey, I told you Missouri was going to win, not bragging about it. It wouldn't shock me, but I do think they can keep this game close. I think Oklahoma wins by 3 or 4. All right, let's go to Pitt and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's favored by 2.5. 61.5 is the total. And I have a premium play on the total in this game, so I'm going to talk about the side because I love the side. I don't want to bet it. I'm going to tell you to take Pitt in this matchup. And I know it's something where people are going to go, Pitt, really? Pitt's won a bunch of games this year. You didn't hear much about them because they're not spectacular. What was it? Eli Holstein got hurt. Reed, the running back there, is incredible. He's a smaller guy, but does it in the passing game, does it in the running game. The receiver Pop, I think he's fantastic as well. I mean, I just watched NC State move the ball up and down the field on Georgia Tech and not have a problem. I don't think Pitt is going to have that problem. And even Georgia Tech kind of had the hiccup last week where, was it Boston College they were playing? I think it was. Forgive me if I'm off on that. Like I said, all this shit runs together now. But they needed to come down to the wire to win the game. They won it in the last seconds. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but with how they dominated early in the season. And then we have to start looking at it going, okay, well, are their signature wins that great? I do think they have some good wins on their resume, speaking of Georgia Tech. But the right side here, it's Pitt. I mean, why is it 2.5 and you're at home and they've been the far superior team? Nobody's been talking about Pitt whatsoever. I think we talked about the backyard brawl, but this is a game that I absolutely, if you're playing daily fantasy, it's one to attack. So, you know what? As I'm doing it now, my freemium here, I'm on the over. I mean, you're going to hear it in what I'm saying. But I think Pitt is the right side on this too. I'd have no problem parlaying them together. I did like the over better, and I didn't want to bet both sides of the game. And plus, I want to bet the over because I want Georgia Tech to win this game. I'd like to see them get into the playoff and make a run. I don't think it's what happens, but yeah, I like their coach. I like the way that they play. Well, at least on offense. Haynes King's amazing. So I think when looking at this game, that's the right side. But my freemium will be on the over there, and this is going to be another freemium right after it. So hey, the Santa Claus is just giving out stuff. Let's go to Louisville at SMU. SMU minus 2.5. The total is 51.5. And what I want to say about this game is, so at the beginning of the week when I looked at this, Louisville was ranked still because the new rankings hadn't come out when this line came out. And I went, well, I know where we're going to be this weekend. We're going to be all over SMU. And I am still all over SMU. I love Kevin Jennings over his passing yards like we talked about earlier. I think it's the right spot for SMU. They've been playing better since the beginning of the year. And much like Pitt, you haven't heard anything about SMU, right? Nobody's talking about them. It almost kind of snuck up on you when you look at their record and go, oh, I didn't realize they did that. Utah kind of did that to me because I feel like the Utah games that I was on this year, I watched them lose. Whether I was against them or for them, like, oh, they're not going anywhere now. And then you look at it, there's a bunch of teams that have way better records, well, at least than I thought. But in this spot, I do think Chris Bell is interesting as well, the receiver for Louisville. He gets a ton of targets if you wanted to go over his yardage. But ultimately, I think SMU is going to move this ball up and down the field. Watching what teams like Virginia did to Louisville and even watching last week, just a terrible, terrible game. You come out and you perform that way and lose. Give me SMU all day, every day. I'll take them minus the 2.5 as my freemium. So, guys, definitely check out the premium plays over at Pickdawgz.com. I've been telling everybody, I know you're watching this on a Saturday. I think Friday or Saturday, if you're buying picks, even if it's not from me, like I said, if you're buying picks, if you come here to watch the video, man, love you for it. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I appreciate it. But when it comes down to it, this is it's interesting with putting the picks up and trying to make sure everybody sees what you like. And that's why I talk about the concrete inner circle, because I get to rate them, but trying to let people know, like, hey, this is a really good game to bet, and this is what I'm going to be on. I put up most of my picks. I've been killing it in the NHL and the NFL. I'm hitting 60% in the NFL right now. It's been a good run. College basketball, I dug myself a little bit of a hole, but I've hit some big games and had some big plays. Just started off bad. And the NBA, good luck, man. The NBA's been drunk this year. And watching the NBA Cup as the totals have been insane. Like, that's the other thing. I didn't say what I was on Friday night, right? Love the Bulls Heat over. Love the Indy Cleveland over. I was on NC State and Florida State to go over. Hawaii, we talked about that. I liked Wisconsin at 4 p.m. plus the 5.5. That was an afternoon game. I own an Akron over. Boston, LA under, and Carolina in the NHL. Those were my plays. So, yeah, I try to get stuff up early so people can see them. But, again, if you're purchasing, the 3-day pass is the best way to go, no matter who it's for. You get all the picks for 3 days. And, I mean, I think mine's like $79.99. I don't know what the other guys are, but yeah, like if I look at my top 5 plays that I sell just in one package by themselves on a Sunday or Saturday, they're $99.99. I mean, the only difference is I have to hit 3 of those games, or you get that, obviously your token back. So, but I do think it's the best way to go if you are going to spend money on picks. So check that out. And again, pair up any of the cappers. You can check the leaderboard, see who's hot, who's been doing the best over the past week, who's the best in what sports. So, yeah. Anyway, hope you guys win some cash. I'll see you tomorrow with an NFL podcast. Good luck.